1.2 megawatts. That is not a typo. That is enough power to run dozens of homes at the same time. Now, imagine pushing that much electricity into a single electric truck on real highways under real freight loads across the United States. That is exactly what Tesla just tested with the Tesla Semi, and during those tests, 3 serious problems showed up. Problems that could have quietly killed the entire project if they were not fixed fast: overheating, charging stress, and long-haul reliability under extreme power. According to recent test results, Elon Musk confirmed that Tesla identified these issues and made direct engineering changes after the 1.2 megawatt charging trials. So the big question is not whether the Tesla Semi is powerful. The real question is whether it is finally practical for real trucking routes. Did Tesla actually fix the problems that matter to fleet operators? Or are these fixes only enough for controlled tests, not daily commercial use? In this video, we are breaking down exactly what went wrong during the ultra-fast charging tests, what Tesla changed, and why this matters for the future of electric trucking in America. No hype, no marketing spin. Just real-world engineering and real consequences. Quick reminder before we continue, if you want clear, no-nonsense breakdowns of Tesla technology explained in simple language. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you never miss updates that actually affect the future of transportation. Now, let us start with the test that forced Tesla to make these fixes in the first place. What actually happened during the 1.2 megawatt test? To understand why Tesla had to fix anything at all, we first need to understand what this test actually involved. This was not a lab experiment, and it was not a controlled demo. Tesla pushed the Tesla Semi into real-world freight routes across the United States and subjected it to something no electric truck had faced before: sustained 1.2 megawatt charging. To put that into perspective, most electric cars charge between 100 and 250 kilowatts. Even high-end fast chargers rarely cross 350 kilowatts. 1.2 megawatts is in an entirely different category. This level of power is designed for one reason only: to get a fully loaded electric semi-truck back on the road fast enough to match diesel turnaround times. During these tests, the Semi ran long-haul routes under real cargo weight. It arrived at megachargers with batteries hot from highway driving. Then it immediately pulled massive amounts of power. That combination is brutal. High-speed driving heats the battery. Ultra-fast charging adds even more thermal stress, and doing both repeatedly is where systems either survive or fail. Tesla intentionally pushed the Semi to its limits, not to break it publicly, but to expose weaknesses privately, and weaknesses did appear. Engineers observed 3 main problem areas during repeated charging cycles. Not theoretical issues, measured, data-backed problems that showed up under sustained use. This is important. For one reason: if Tesla could not solve these issues at 1.2 megawatts, the Semi would never scale beyond pilot fleets. Fleet operators do not care about potential. They care about uptime, reliability, and predictable costs. The moment a truck loses charging consistency or thermal stability, the economics fall apart. That is why these tests mattered so much. They forced Tesla to confront problems early, before mass deployment. And they triggered specific engineering changes instead of marketing promises. Now that you understand the intensity of this test, we can talk about the first issue that appeared, and it is the one most people underestimate: heat. The first problem: heat at extreme power levels. When you push 1.2 megawatts into a battery, heat becomes the enemy, not gradually. Immediately. During the early charging tests, engineers noticed that battery temperatures were climbing faster than expected, not to dangerous levels, but fast enough to raise serious red flags. This matters because batteries do not fail all at once. They fail slowly. Excess heat accelerates cell degradation. It shortens battery lifespan, and over time, it increases the risk of power throttling or unexpected downtime for a passenger car. That might mean slightly slower charging after a few years for a commercial truck. It means lost revenue during long-haul testing. The semi arrived at chargers after hours of highway. Driving with heavy cargo. The battery was already warm from sustained load when ultra-fast charging began immediately. Thermal systems had to work at maximum capacity. Cooling loops, pumps, and heat exchangers were pushed hard. Cycle after cycle. What Tesla found was not catastrophic failure. It was something more subtle and more dangerous. Thermal margins were too tight. That means the system worked, but without enough buffer for extreme conditions. High ambient temperatures, repeated back-to-back charging sessions, routes with little cooldown time for fleet operators. Tight margins equal risk. And risk is unacceptable at scale. So Tesla made a decision. Instead of simply limiting charging speed, engineers redesigned parts of the thermal system. Cooling flow rates were increased. Heat transfer paths inside the battery pack were improved. And charging software was updated to manage temperature more intelligently during peak loads. The goal was not just to survive one fast charge. The goal was to survive thousands of them, year after year after these changes. Temperature curves during 1.2 megawatt charging became flatter and more predictable. Heat buildup slowed, and recovery times improved. This fix did not make headlines, but without it, nothing else would matter, because a truck that cannot manage heat cannot be trusted. And heat was only the first issue Tesla had to solve. The second problem appeared not inside the battery, but between the truck and the charger itself. The second problem, when power delivery breaks down after heat. The next issue Tesla uncovered was less visible, but just as critical. Communication between the truck and the charger. At 1.2 megawatts. Charging is not just about electricity flowing. It is about constant negotiation. The charger and the truck are in a continuous digital conversation. Voltage levels. Current limits. Temperature data. Safety thresholds. At lower charging speeds. Small delays or mismatches are easy to manage. At 1.2 megawatts. Even minor inconsistencies can cause instability. During early tests, engineers observed brief power interruptions and uneven current delivery, not full shutdowns, but short drops and fluctuations that forced the system to pause and recalibrate. For a passenger car, this would be an inconvenience. For a commercial truck, it is a serious efficiency problem. Every interruption adds time. Every reset reduces confidence. And every inconsistency increases wear on electrical components. Fleet operators expect one thing above all else. Predictability. If a truck plugs in, charging must be smooth, repeatable, and boring. No surprises. So Tesla traced the problem to the interface layer between the semi and the megacharger. Not hardware failure, protocol timing, and synchronization. Under extreme load, the solution was not just stronger cables or thicker connectors. It was smarter control. Tesla updated the charging handshake process. Data exchange frequency was increased. Error tolerance was tightened, and power ramp-up curves were refined to prevent sudden spikes. Instead of slamming the system with full power instantly, charging now ramps more smoothly while constantly adjusting in real time. This reduced electrical stress. It stabilized current flow. And it eliminated the brief dropouts seen during early testing. After the update, charging sessions became consistent from start to finish. No unexpected pauses. No unnecessary recalibration cycles. This may sound technical, but its impact is simple. Stable charging equals reliable schedules. Reliable schedules equal profitable operations. And even after fixing heat and power delivery, Tesla still had one more problem to solve. One that only appears after weeks of non-stop real-world use. The third problem, long-haul reliability over time. The third issue did not appear on day one. It appeared after weeks. This is the kind of problem that only shows up when a truck is used the way real fleets use it, day after day. Route after route, charge after charge. During extended testing, engineers noticed early signs of accelerated wear in certain high-voltage components. Not failures. Warnings. Connectors heating slightly more than expected. Power electronics experiencing higher stress during repeated peak loads. Components aging faster than predicted. Models suggested This is a serious concern for commercial trucking. Semi-truck is not a consumer product. It is a machine expected to operate hundreds of thousands of miles with minimal downtime. If ultra-fast charging shortens component life, the business case collapses. So Tesla engineers took a step back and addressed the issue at the system level. First, critical power components were reinforced. Materials were upgraded to handle repeated high current exposure without fatigue. Second, charging logic was adjusted to account for cumulative stress. The system now tracks not just temperature, but usage. History. That allows the truck to manage power delivery intelligently over long periods instead of treating every charge as a fresh event. Third, diagnostic systems were expanded. The Semi now monitors its own high-voltage health in real time. If abnormal wear patterns appear, the system flags them early. Before they turn into downtime. This matters because preventative maintenance is far cheaper than roadside failure. After these changes, long-term testing showed improved consistency across repeated charging cycles. Component stress levels stabilized, performance remained predictable even after heavy use. This is the difference between a prototype and a commercial vehicle. Anyone can build a truck that charges fast once. Very few can build one that does it reliably for years. Quick mid-video note: if this breakdown is helping you understand what actually goes into making electric trucks practical, take a moment to like the video and stay subscribed. It helps support clear, no-hype analysis like this, with these three issues addressed. The big question becomes clear. Do these fixes actually move the Tesla Semi from an impressive experiment to a real diesel replacement? That is what we need to evaluate next. Do these fixes finally make the Tesla Semi practical? Now that Tesla has addressed all three major issues, heat management, charging stability, and long-term component wear, we can finally ask the question that matters: does this turn the Tesla Semi from an impressive experiment into a practical commercial truck? The honest answer is this: it moves the Semi much closer. But it does not magically finish the job overnight. With the thermal fixes in place, the battery can now tolerate repeated 1.2 megawatt charging without sacrificing long-term health. That removes one of the biggest technical barriers to electric long-haul trucking. With stable charger-to-truck communication, charging sessions become predictable instead of stressful. Predictability is everything for fleet scheduling, and with reinforced components and smarter diagnostics, the Semi is now designed to age like a commercial vehicle, not a fragile prototype. This is exactly what diesel trucks are expected to do. However, practicality is not just about engineering. It is also about infrastructure. 1.2 megawatt charging requires dedicated mega chargers. High voltage grid connections, careful site planning. This means the Tesla Semi is most practical today for fixed routes. Distribution hubs. Ports. Factory-to-factory freight. In those environments, everything can be controlled. Charging locations are known. Downtime is predictable. Energy costs can be managed. For nationwide, open-ended trucking routes, the picture is still evolving. The truck itself may now be ready. The charging network still needs to catch up. This is why Tesla is approaching deployment carefully, not flooding the market. Not promising instant nationwide replacement of diesel. Instead, they are expanding where the Semi already makes sense and learning from real usage, and that is a good sign. It shows discipline instead of desperation. So while these fixes do not mean diesel trucks disappear tomorrow, they do mean something important. Electric trucking is no longer blocked by basic engineering failures. The remaining challenges are scaling and infrastructure, not feasibility. And that brings us to the final question we need to answer. What does all of this mean for the future of trucking in the United States? That is how we wrap this story. What this changes for trucking in the United States. What Tesla achieved with these fixes goes far beyond a single truck model. For the first time, a fully electric semi-truck has demonstrated that ultra-fast charging at 1.2 megawatts can work on real U.S. freight routes without destroying reliability. That is a big deal. Diesel trucks dominate today not because they are perfect, But because they are predictable, they can refuel fast, they can run long hours, and operators understand their limits. The moment electric trucks meet those same expectations, the conversation changes. For fleet operators, the Tesla Semi is no longer just a sustainability experiment. It becomes a cost and logistics question. Lower fuel costs, fewer mechanical systems, less routine maintenance. When downtime drops and energy costs stabilize, margins improve. This is especially important in an industry where profit margins are often razor thin. However, this transition will not happen all at once. Electric trucking will expand first, where it makes the most sense: fixed routes. High utilization. Lanes, ports, and distribution centers. That is where the Tesla Semi can already outperform diesel on operating cost and efficiency. As megacharger infrastructure expands, those electric routes will stretch farther. What starts regional can become national. And this is why these fixes matter. They remove the technical excuses. The remaining barriers are economic decisions and infrastructure investment. Once those fall into place, diesel loses its biggest advantage. The future of trucking will not flip overnight, but it will tilt. And the companies that adapt early will gain experience, data, and cost advantages that late adopters will struggle to match. Tesla Semi is not the end of diesel tomorrow. But it is a clear signal that diesel dominance now has a countdown. And that brings us to the final takeaway. What should fleets, investors, and even everyday observers actually take away from this moment? That is where we close. Final verdict and what really changed. So let us step back and look at the bigger picture. The 1.2 megawatt charging tests were not about headlines. They were about stress. Tesla deliberately pushed the Semi into conditions where failure would be obvious and unavoidable. Extreme power, real freight loads, repeated cycles on US routes. And 3 real problems: surface. Heat management, charging, stability. And long-term component wear. The important part is not that these problems appeared. The important part is that Tesla addressed them directly instead of hiding them behind marketing. Thermal systems were strengthened. Charging communication was stabilized. And long-haul durability was reinforced with smarter diagnostics and stronger components. That is how commercial vehicles are built. Not by perfection on day one, but by learning under pressure. Does this mean electric trucks are ready to replace diesel everywhere tomorrow? No, but it does mean something critical has changed. Ultra-fast charging is no longer the weak link. The remaining challenges are infrastructure, deployment scale, and economics, not basic engineering feasibility. For fleet operators, this is the moment when electric trucking shifts from theory to serious evaluation. For competitors, it is a warning that the technology gap is closing faster than expected. And for the industry as a whole, it is proof that diesel finally has a credible challenger in long-haul operations. This is not the end of diesel, but it is the beginning of its decline. Now, before we wrap up, let me leave you with a few final things. If you found this breakdown clear and useful, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We focus on real engineering and real-world impact, not hype. I want to hear your perspective. Do you think electric trucks are ready for large-scale deployment? Or does diesel still have a long future ahead? Share your thoughts in the comments. In the next video, we will look at how megacharger infrastructure could expand across the United States, and whether the grid can realistically support 1.2 megawatt charging at scale. If that topic matters to you, stay subscribed so you do not miss it. Thank you for watching. Drive safe, think long-term, and I will see you in the next one.